The VC Project.
I don't know if Peter's checking his text messages or checking his hair.
Always checking your hair.
Pat's already walking up. What's going on? We're starting hot today, too. I guess he's shutting the studio door. That's all right. Okay, so I'm going to say welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Hello.
We're already on. It's good.
You know.
I
make the sausage, right?
I'm Jeremy. Of course, Pat, who's finally sitting down with his headphones. Here we go. You guys all know us. And, of course, I'd like to introduce the one and only Mr. Peter Papageorgio from Yuma, Arizona. Is that what we say?
Yes, sir. That's it. What a name.
Yeah. You remember the line, right?
Yeah. Which one? In Vegas Vacation?
Yeah. Yuma, Arizona. Now, Peter Papageorge from Televic is here. You drove all the way down from Chicago today to be a part of the podcast. We appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Brought toys. Lots of toys.
Filled up my desk.
Yeah, so I guess, Peter, we'll just jump right in and start with you. Give us a little bit of your history personally before we start diving into what you brought to show us.
No, I appreciate it. So, I've been in part of our AV worlds for 20 to 30 years. I was very fortunate to have 3 companies that I worked in those times, and started back in the day with Superscope, Marantz, and Source Decks, and kind of evolved through 12 years of that as they put Denon and Marantz together, formed D&M Professional. The thing that I loved about that was managing North and South America for that product or product line we got thrown into every part of the AV industry because everybody needed a source deck. And it didn't matter the 14 vertical markets, the consultants, the integrators, the nationals, the regionals, everybody. And being part of that kind of just accelerated the awareness of how you go to market, what people need, because everybody needed some type of deck. Well, all those went away. So luckily, before that happened, I was fortunate to join Listen Technologies.
Now, what year are we talking was this?
Oh, wow. 2000, the late 90s to 2000-ish, almost 2010 was...
transfer, because you and I met probably 05, 06, I think.
During the D&M professional days, right. We did a lot together with regards to source decks and CD recorders and DVD players and
all
analog
that
sundown. Yeah, I mean, it was just, you think back about all
What are these things?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Pat wasn't even born yet.
You know what a cassette deck is?
When were you born, Pat?
85.
Okay, so he's not that old.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you had the last
or that young is what I meant to say. Anyway, so then you moved on to Listen, right?
Listen Technologies for 7 years. What a great company. Really, really enjoyed the time there because that's where I learned not only the same concept of vertical markets, industries, and things like that, but really how to take care of a customer, because they're one of the best in the industry. And when it comes down to, how they do things and things like that. So then 6 years ago, Televic was expanding and they wanted direct offices in the United States. And I was tapped to start the U.S. direct office, to get out of distribution, land the ship here, expand it across the country. And what's fun to be able to do that was the history of Televic is so rich. All we had to do was turn the lights on and turn the lights on to the industry here because nobody in the United States knows who Televic is. So that's where I ended up today.
So Televic, Belgium, correct?
Yes, that's
right. Belgium. And I was familiar with it back when they were doing some distribution because we did a little bit of quoting with the product. I don't know how much we actually did because there were a couple brands that were doing it that were very well versed in the United States. I don't remember what they were. And we used them quite a bit. And then when you kind of opened up the Televic office in the U.S., is kind of where our kind of relationship became even kind of closer, I think, right? And we've done several projects together, and I know of some other stuff you guys have done. But give us a history of Televic. What does Televic do? Mm-hmm. Kind of the 5,000-foot view, right?
Sure. What people don't know is they've been in business for 75 years. And they go, you can't be serious. No, it goes back that far. And since 1972, with the large institutions like European Union, United Nations, everything overseas, European commissions and parliaments around the world, is really the main focus of the company for decades. And meaning we're good at our niche, so we did all 5 buildings at NATO. We really know what we're doing with audio, video, interpretation, 40 to 50, 60 languages at one time. But bringing that then forward to really just recently is expanding beyond formal meetings to informal meetings. And that all was because of the pandemic. And it was interesting that the pandemic was what jumped our products into the mainstream that we were never invited to. because having a local speaker in front. So that's what the category is. A micer with a built-in speaker. Everything we do is a discussion microphone. Video with a microphone and a speaker, and all of that. It's the same concept. You want to have local audio. So we've been through a lot of changes in the last 3 years, and it really paid off. But that's kind of like the core of discussion microphones, with and without voting, with and without documents, with video, without video. So it's mix and match.
So we're seeing that a lot now in, I mean, you say NATO and all these big government bodies, right? I mean, countries essentially, right? And where we're seeing that now is it's coming down where we're using it in a 8-person city council room now.
That's right. That's right.
We're using it in the corporate boardroom now, right? Which wasn't really a thing so much 10 years ago, unless it was a really big corporate boardroom, right? But yeah, I mean, we're seeing it, trickle down, if you will, to all those kind of small organizations because it's affordable, it works, which is what I like. Like you said, everybody gets their own microphone, everybody gets their own speaker, and for the people out of this and don't really know what a discussion system is, that's all it is, right? It's a microphone, it's a speaker, it's something that you put so that 100 people down the chain can hear locally what's being said by the person that's 100 yards away from them, right? Especially in the days of social distancing. So, Pat, I know you probably haven't had much experience with this kind of stuff, but I mean, that's kind of the crux of it, right?
Yeah, we've quoted it out, multiple times, across the council chambers and other spaces. Talk a little bit about, you say it's just a microphone and a speaker. Obviously, there's more technology to it. I see a mute light on right now. Talk a little bit about the features that this has.
Well, it's fun to be able to have engineering and sales at the table because there really are two different discussions when it comes down to the back end and making sure it works with all your DSP, your programming, your routing, APIs, control. On the sales side, it is amazing how the end user community, no matter if it's corporate, education, you pick one. City government is one that you keep on referencing, which is true. Here's a wireless unit. There's an access point on the table. It's something that I can actually say, I'm talking now, and it's coming through the 3 units itself. Well, wired or wireless, this is a good example of 2 batteries up to 12 hours. So you go, okay, can I be a meeting planner in a ballroom with 32 round tables? And you go, well, what would you normally do there? We had somebody request, they said, can you guys put 32 mics, one on each table, and have it work where everybody can hear distributed audio and there's a microphone at the table to be able to say, if somebody has a question, just grab it. And now you've had some communications to the whole room and the panel. And they go, well, how would you do that with a normal AV systems and wireless mics? Can you imagine, managing 32 wireless mics just for that purpose? You shouldn't. So when it comes down to the tech, it's just the simple things, not just the halo, but the LEDs on the back. When something's on or something's muted, you want to be able to see that. The LEDs are programmable. There's logos, there's voting, there's agendas. There's so much firepower that can be in here. And that's when you start to go down. Are we talking to a city government? If you're talking to a city government, oh my gosh, we're really good at that. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? But a majority in the United States, frankly, is the informal meeting where I just want to speak. I just want to talk. And what was interesting, my European colleagues and actually APEC too, they know what this category is for decades, right? The U.S. is really a new market that says, what is this?
Which is very surprising to me.
Right. But you know what I tell all the people we interface with for a long, long time, the end users for the last 5 years, is we are a DSP country. We're really good at that, meaning us as a collective body of AV designers and salespeople. But now what happened with the pandemic, it was like, wait, we need to meet safe, plexiglass, distance and things to reduce the amount of acoustic challenges, bring in audio in front of everybody, really brought it to the next level. But there was one major problem, meaning we did not play well with DSP and control. We have APIs, extensive, but it was the routing, the in and out, the separation that a guy like you, Jeremy, always said for decades, you better give me control. You better give me isolation. You better give me this. So I actually use you as the poster child. I always reference you in meetings. I go, if you want to be part of this, you got to make that guy happy. So,
I have a tendency to be a little harsh with the reps.
No, but you want to know something, it worked.
And they all appreciate that. So.
Yeah, no. I think it's, you go into a boiler room and survive. That's I love bad news more than good. So, but yeah, that's a lot of firepower on the technology.
And where does this live in a project like that? Or
this one here?
Yeah.
So this is a surprise because ultimately what you have here is I'm sorry, I'm going to be hotter on the mic by doing that. You have an example. I don't know if you can see this, Jeremy. Can you see it pretty well?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So you have who's speaking, who's waiting to speak. You have basically agenda items that I can actually go forward and see. I can go forward and see who's in the meeting itself.
So whoever's controlling the
Voting.
meeting is running this.
Well, no. This is a station for each person.
Oh, wow.
So you literally, in fact, there was just an installation up in a corporate insurance company where they put 20 of these in a corporate boardroom. And what was really cool is it was basically, normally these things normally would not be invited, but because of our new DSP modes, we allow all of our hardware to go out to design engineers and say, you know what, just click here. You want to put an echo canceller in every microphone? You want to EQ each one differently? You want to zone our speakers in groups or whatever? You can now do that. That's what we've been working on. So then this found a place in corporate along with our wired and wireless. But being able to just say, you know what, they didn't want any of the stuff I just showed. That's meeting management stuff. They just wanted to say, I just want to see a video.
Yeah, we put a few of these in, and the thing I liked about it too is we could bring the far end of a video call in.
And a built-in webcam.
Right. So it's got a built-in webcam there, right? And everybody watching the podcast, you can see what he's doing when he's touching the screen here. But the nice thing is, if you think about people sitting around a dais or sitting around a bunch of tables, and instead of looking at the massive screen or whatever at one end of the room where there's the remote participants on Zoom or Teams or whatever, you can actually bring that into the individual video units, which is kind of cool. That's one of the features I really liked about it.
What's really interesting though about sales, the sales part of this line really was just awareness from the simplicity of it. So when we started the division 6 years ago, we didn't come to the integrators, consultants, or anything. We were still through distribution. What we focused on was going to the end user channel, meaning we went to city government shows, city clerk shows, city. And then just recently in the last 2 years, courts, because of the National Center project that we were part of. So what happened was we learned a lot that every end user said, this is really cool. How come nobody ever shows us this? I said, because it's nobody's fault. Couldn't control and get it into like we can now. Now that we've learned that and we've repurposed your needs, the end user needs, all of what we've been doing the last 3 to 5 years was really upping the game for the end user and the designers, the consultants, AV designers. But from a sales point of view, it is amazing that in that one case, I have all this in one case. We have 10 master kits that go all the way around the country, and they're used on a regular basis. You pull that out in 90 seconds and start talking. It's amazing what happens to the end user. They go, it can't be that easy. I said, well, we can have 128 microphones on that one access point and can go up to about a football field, a U.S. football field. I always get slapped around overseas when I say football field because they don't think American football is anything. All right, anyway.
It's a little longer.
It's a long discussion over there. Football field? What kind, Peter? Okay, never mind. I don't want to hear it.
I was going to ask you, do you get to go to Belgium a fair amount?
Yeah. Before the pandemic, I was over there probably 3 to 4 times a year. During the pandemic it was less, and now we just started back up. But really great people. I got to tell you, we're over 1,000 people strong and over 300 engineers.
Wow.
And when you hear that, you go, this is not a new company. This is a company that really gets it. And what's really cool about the company is the two guys that own it are engineers, and they're really good at what they do all these years. And what they didn't have was marketing up until about 3-4 years ago. They really now, what you're seeing is you're seeing a face on the great products. And it's exciting to see because people should know the story.
What was the key to that marketing effort? What was the difference there?
I think it was just pointing out that said, you know what, if you want to expand in the United States primarily, it wasn't necessarily about making a good product. You have to tell somebody about it. So it was nice that they listened, and it was really great. I think it was a great testimony for people that says, does a manufacturer pay attention? And I got to tell you, I've been here now going on 6 years, and I couldn't be happier with the relationship, the vision, the engineering. In fact, you know what? Smart audio and control is what we came out with for Jeremy and his team for DSP mode, hands-free, speech detect, all the stuff that he asked for years. Was driven from the conversations that we've had here, and they supported us here. And now we're expanding our U.S. team.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. We had some really great conversations. Probably down, were we in Orlando or Vegas? Well, anyway, we were out somewhere, and I think it was a couple of your owners and a bunch of the engineers, and all of us went out to dinner one night and had some great conversations. The next thing I know, like 3 months later, it's hey, we
Check
added
this
this
out.
and we added this and
Yeah.
we added this. It's like, sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty exciting stuff. So
Only a matter of time before you get to Belgium.
yeah,
So,
well, that would be fun. I would love to do that
I'd like
actually.
a trip there as well.
Have you been over there? Have you played there?
No, never in Belgium, Germany, the Czech Republic, and Italy, but never.
so
played in the
wait. This was during your baseball career. So how long were you overseas playing?
I was a citizen of Italy for baseball purposes as
Really?
well. They got me my citizenship.
Nice.
So I would play in European championships with the Italian national team.
Very cool.
And it's, when you see like the World Baseball Classic here, that's a lot of like major leaguers.
Yeah.
But when you go in the Euro Championships, these guys all have day jobs. So our left fielder would wear gardening gloves.
Oh, wow.
He was a botanist, and he would wear gardening gloves as his batting gloves.
No way.
Yeah. It's just, guys that love baseball that are, just compete at a high level. It's a lot of fun.
So what was your job during the day then?
Well,
You had to have one, right?
I just ate pasta. Of course. There for
Where,
2
where
weeks.
did you live in Italy?
Just different hotels,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
city we were going to. It was only for like 2 week spurts at a time, just for tournaments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know you were at the Czech Republic too. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you just get in the bus, go to the next city, and those drives are incredible.
Yeah.
You get to go through the Alps like that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I when we went to Italy last month, we flew in through Zurich, and just even driving through there and then going down to Venice was just unbelievable. Like the views are just great there. So
Televic, when I started with them before, when I was at Listen, we were the distributor. So they invited me to a partner event, they call it. And it's every other year, and they bring all the distributors from around the world together in some place, usually in Europe. And I think I've been to France, Scotland, Budapest, many places in Belgium. And what was really exciting was, I'm not a guy that I always traveled domestically, right, on a plane, for 20, 30 years here in the United States, mostly in Canada. But when I started going there, I'm going, wow, all right, I'm kind of digging Europe. It's kind of cool. And then I fell in love with it. And my wife just went on the last one. So you meet people from around the world, from, anywhere from Shanghai to Dubai and then Norway and everywhere in between. And it was really just a great event and then I found out just this time, because we started Smart Audio Control in DSP mode, and it was driven from the US. But what was really cool was to go to that event and have discussions with international distributors to find it's the same in every country. You're going, of course they have DSP. Of course that's a majority of their things. And they were really happy to hear that we had now provided all this hardware on their design, and now it's just starting to really grow fast on that. So
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's I was telling you earlier about how Pat comes from an outside world, in sports, coming into AV, and some of the systems that, he knows what TVs are and what flat panels are, and a little bit about what video walls are and sound systems in general, right? But when it's cool when I'm introducing new people to new tech like this and how this can enhance something for a client or a customer. It's awesome that the one thing I will say is, like new salespeople, Pat always gets the bug. Oh, this is the new hottest thing. I got to have this. It's got to be this. Like,
I always said to him, if it's got a light on it, I'm sold.
Let's dial that back
all
a
I'm
minute.
saying.
we got tons of it. Well, just recently we had an opportunity with the National Center for State Courts, because of the pandemic, and it was the hybrid hearing initiative. And they invited us and said, hey, can you be part of this? And we said, sure. You didn't even know who we are. And they said, yeah, you're the guys with the mic and the built-in speaker. Like, well, this is weird, but in a good way. And lack of a better term, it was all the features and bringing proximity to the stations and where they are, the judge, the witness, prosecution, defense. What we were pleasantly surprised was when we got involved at towards the end of before the pilots, Bill from Biamp, basically called me and said, hey, we heard what you're doing. Can we be part of this? Because I needed a DSP to kind of, say, look, we're one part of the system. It's the customer facing where you hear the judge, the witness, prosecution, defense, and then to zoom to the recording record of multi-channel in that specific industry. Well, it was interesting to see how, Biamp jumped in and said, hey, let's put together the actual program and this, and they nailed it. And it really worked. So now all of a sudden we're in the court business, which we were never invited before. And that's such a niche, because it has specific requirements. So it's amazing that the features and, it's simple. This little thing here going, normally our LEDs are either off or on, and you pick color green or red. Well, I was in a court, and the judge goes, hey, I love that. I go, you love what? And he pointed to the things, because from the bench, he's seeing the microphone status. And then I said, do you want it to be on all the time? I'll put it in I call it corporate mode. You want it to be green is on and, red is mute? He goes, yes. So I'm going, something simple like that got the attention because it was just visual, that if that's red, it's not going to the record. If they have push to mute, hold to mute, latch on, latch off, first in, first out. There's so many ways these systems can, the buzzwords of how do you want it to work today? And there's just a ton of stuff you can go down.
Yeah, anytime you have a differentiator like that, it makes it easy too.
Well, we were just in discussions this week with clients about the different modes for push to mute and push to hold, and explaining all of that and what that takes,
and
right?
The biggest thing that we get it all the time, they want to control the volume of the speaker.
Yeah.
Not understanding the feedback issues and other things that come with that if it's too loud. And do you think that technology will ever be in these to where each individual one will be able to be volume controlled?
It's a fundamental point of how these systems work. The answer is no, because if you do that, now you can't control the whole room, right? But that doesn't mean you can't put something on Crestron, AMX, APIs, or whatever to say, if somebody wants, like we do have GUIs in all of our stuff, right? And if you want to have mic control, so gain here and there, or it's overall volume, or it's microphones on and off on a synoptic view. Oh, that's what we do for a living. But now it's about the design. If somebody says this is cool, now remember there's headphone jacks on both sides. So I can make this a dual delegate. I can control the volume.
And that's what I was trying to explain to them.
Tons.
You need individual volume control. That's it. Well, what's really interesting, I think that speaks volumes about our industry in general, was you talk about, your packaging systems up for the specific need for the court systems, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny how it's such a small industry we live in because of the friends that we make, right? Because you talk about Bill calling you up to do this, right? And Bill Natras from Biamp is a close friend of all of ours, right? And you've met him, Pat. Remember, he was at my house for my annual party last year.
Time.
Yeah. So, Bill's a great dude, and just that relationship that you and he have, you guys were able to formulate that and bring two companies together to create something for an entire vertical market.
Yeah. Well, the funniest story was the pilot program was in Alpine, Texas. So Bill and I get on an airplane to go fly to El Paso. We get in a rental car and drive 3.5 hours in the middle of nowhere, Texas, literally. And there was a stretch right there was a sign that says, next 70 miles, no water, no electricity, no cell service, no nothing. Be prepared. And it was serious. So I'm like, going, crap, Bill, how's our gas? We got water? And then we're kind of like, I think we can make it, And so sure enough, it was like a Monday in Alpine, Texas. We go to the courthouse. It's like as Bill says, it's like the My Vinnie courthouse, from that movie, right? And you go, yeah, it is. And the coolest story was the judge at that courthouse is the cat judge. So if you remember, and go on YouTube and pull up cat judge, and you'll see the scenario that when everybody went dark during the pandemic and they started to pull these things in, there was a lawyer that jumped into a Zoom call, but he had the cat meme as the control and he couldn't get it off. And he says,
one of those fake face things.
Yeah. He was literally saying stuff like, I'm not a judge cat. I'm not a cat judge. Really, I'm not. And it goes, I know you're not, but you still, it's the funniest clip. But that's the judge's chamber. And it was so cool too, because this was an acoustic nightmare. And Bill and I knew what we were getting into, but Bill was the guy running the room on Biamp, and I had the easy part. I had the cool hardware that DSP.
Well, and he's got the acoustic knowledge down.
Yeah,
so,
I'm going, Bill, congratulations. I'm glad you're here with me. And it was really, really cool, but the trip was hilarious. I mean, there was 4 restaurants in town and 3 were closed. And
so it is a Monday. That happens here too.
Tuesday we had a nice meal, but Monday was pretty tough. So that's kind of funny.
Talking about talents outside of our current work, I learned about 20 minutes ago about what you do. Outside of a little bit about that.
Yeah, no. It's funny. I've been in a Pink Floyd show since 1986.
Yeah, what has not been that long, really?
Yeah. Well, here's what happened in '86 to '93 when I had hair and it was down to here.
I've seen those pictures. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I missed that.
It's like when I had hair, but not that long.
Yeah. But no, back then I was the keyboardist and did the Gilmore vocals in Chicago, and we did 160 shows in 7 years. And
wow!
And just like just guys that were working, having fun, and it was great. We did 3 states and things, and then we and you get sick of Pink Floyd after all those shows. You go, I remember playing Money and singing, going dun, 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 different times, and it's like balancing my checkbook in my head, going. I really don't like doing this anymore. So we all quit. Everybody got married and kids and the things. And so about 11, 12 years ago, the guitarist, who's a real good friend of mine, he goes, hey, I'm hanging out with some real killer musicians, and I was thinking about throwing our show together. You know, the lasers, the bricks, the banners, the whole thing. What you want in? I go, oh, wow, I have to buy keyboards, relearn how to play them, and quit my job because I travel for a living. I go, I can't do it, man. I really thank you. But no, that was in 2011. And then 6 weeks later, he goes, hey, I got a great idea. And I go, oh, no. He goes, how about any time you're in town, you just show up in a black suit and tie and a bowler hat and like just join us and sing Have a Cigar like a guest vocalist. And any other vocal you want to, sing. And I go, let me get this straight. I don't have to practice, rehearse. I don't have to get there for sound check. All I have to do is show up to a bar or a venue looking like an undertaker and have a scotch or so. And when my song comes up, just join killer musicians on stage, sing some songs, and I can leave anytime I want. I don't break down anything. He goes, yeah, what do you think? I go, I want to try that.
That's the ideal gig for a musician, right?
So it was funny because I was like, and that was 11 years ago, and he didn't tell anybody that I was coming, which was really cool. And all the people on stage that I didn't know. And sure enough, the fourth song was mine, and I had about 30 seconds to get it to the mic, and I start coming up, and sure enough, there's the sax player, the bass player, percussionist are going, there's a guy coming on stage. Nobody's stopping him. What the hell's going on? And so I hit a few songs that set, and back then we used to take a break. And I said, well, we don't know who you are, but you're welcome anytime.
That's awesome.
So 11 years later, I just, now it's a blast.
How many shows do you guys play every year?
10.
Yeah,
it's not a lot. Five and five. We don't do
one
summers.
a month, maybe something like that.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Is it is a live event that is just, it's not just a band. There's video, there's lasers, it's choreographed, there's flags, there's a lot of cool stuff. Tons.
Sounds like that's the best part.
But they're 60 to 80.
No. They are a little older.
Grandma groupies.
Yeah.
Actually, what's bizarre is the people that come and see the show are 16 to 86. Really, I think the oldest one was 93. And it was so amazing because the music just has transcended generations. So when we do all day shows, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Are most of the shows all ages? Because it depends on the venue, I guess, right?
No, not most. No,
yeah.
We're hitting more theaters now and things. So like I think we're in Hoopeston, just north of where is that? North of Champaign.
Oh yeah, that's right over there.
And then like you said, Rust Belt over there, and we're playing Lake Geneva.
What's the biggest crowd you've played in front of?
Like Joe's Live near O'Hare Airport, it was probably 1,000 to 1,200 people.
What's the average show? You think 400 or 500 maybe?
Yeah, 4 to 6.
It's still a rocking venue, a great time, great atmosphere. That's awesome.
It's such. And here's the cool part: the band never gets together ever unless we're on stage. So I mean,
no rehearsing, no practicing.
Well, it's the same songs. I mean, I've done them.
Yeah, but I can tell you, it's knowing what that takes to master your craft, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you know this too, even in the sports world, right? Like to be able to just walk on stage and see each other once a month and hit it like you guys do is unbelievable. I've been to the show several times, numerous times with Bill, and I know Chrissy comes from Sony, and there's a group of us that kind of follow Peter when we can, and go hang out
wherever it is. All right, now I found out something about you. That you were a major league pitcher in a couple teams. How many teams in the majors?
6 in the majors.
6,
yeah.
But ambidextrous throwing,
both hands.
I mean, that's crazy.
I did show him the amphibious.
You don't know me well enough, but I'm crazy.
So again, I'm trying to put my thought around it. You're sitting here going, all right, I know what switch hitters are, but you literally can throw and pitch in the majors left or right.
Same effect as a switch hitter. Yeah, I would face left-handed hitter and right-handed.
Are you able then, and then so you can change every time. So right-handed, So how does somebody manage against you like that?
Well, I mean, it just depending on the day. Sometimes you'll have some switch hitters, but there's not a whole lot of thought that goes into it. They're not going to change their lineup based on a reliever coming into the game. Yeah. There'll be some pinch hitting and some chess that goes on.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot beforehand. The majority of it is my research before the game with the coaches to figure out how I'm going to face the switch hitters. That's it.
So can I ask, are you better right or left?
The statistics would say left over the years. I was a little better left on left.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. That's fun. It's great to meet you. I love that story.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's been a good transition into this.
I was trying to explain to Peter about your glove.
So it's a 6-finger glove. So most gloves have
The
5.
yeah.
It's got 2 thumbs, the pockets in the middle. It looks like an
wow.
alien claw.
Where do you get something like that?
Osaka, Japan. The Mizuno headquarters in Osaka. There's only a couple master craftsmen. They stamp the inside of my glove with their Japanese signature.
Is you the only one?
They don't make it for anybody else.
Wow.
There's other companies out there that do, but I'm a little partial to the one I've had since I was 7 years old.
I'm assuming you had to.
Is that whitish one you had in your car?
No, that was just a right-handed one. But it's all Mizuno. It's the only thing I put on.
That is awesome. What a great story. So that's fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Good.
Pat's got some killer stories. You've got some killer stories too from back in the day. I'll say that the Pink Floyd, band, the wife and I have gone several times. We're going to bring you and your wife, Pat. You will absolutely love it. I think last time we saw you might have been up. I think Chris Cusick came.
Oh, up in Aurora.
Yeah, we're up in Aurora for something. We were by Cat. I was up there for a Cat gig too, and then we ended up going to see that, and it was good. It was great. We went to dinner beforehand and just kind of hung out.
Who runs the light show then?
All right. So the nice part about the show is there's key people. There's a laser guy. In fact, we just have a new laser guy now that really is great. I love it.
I want to be the laser guy. It sounds cool.
Guy. So we have a video guy, laser guy. We usually are dependent on the room audio guy, and usually it's fine. We have all our in-ears and things. Most everybody's on an in-ear for us, and I run my own in-ears. Just I can, if the mix is completely trashed, I'll be able to just make sure I have my feed, and so I split it. But everything is like a machine. I mean, literally, it's funny. We hit the venue. Everybody just sets up. We do a sound check for 5 minutes and just hang out. And we're just hanging out, catching up in the back room. And next thing you know, we just oh, it's time to go on. And everybody just boom. It's like riding a bike.
You get an adrenaline rush?
You know what I used to? Now it's more along the lines of, can I relax? Because Friday gigs are tough. We work all day, and now I'm driving through traffic, and I'm I just got to calm down. And as soon as the beat hits, I'm going, okay, I remember this.
Just your happy spot.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's fun. But it's because everybody there is a pro. In fact, I have a fun stage thing with our percussionist. She's really great. A percussionist named Meg. So after a number of shows, a number of years, you want to have fun on stage. We always do. But I said, hey, I got an idea. And she goes, what? I said, anytime I do this, you got to throw in a triplet. And she goes, all right. I go, anywhere in the show, any song. She goes, game on, right?
It's like Super Troopers.
Yeah. So during the show, you will see me do that. And she will nail it every time. And I think there was only one time she didn't want to do it. And it was during Nobody Home, a really quiet ballad. I go like this. No. Okay. So no, it's a blast. Yeah, it's fun.
One of the other things Pat's been doing, not just in the world of AV is kind of the world of tour guide, which a lot of people don't know about as well. One of our previous salesmen kind of spearheaded that, and then we kind of dumped that on Pat because to be honest with you, I didn't want to learn it. I knew a little enough about it to be dangerous. It's a lot of paperwork to some extent, at least what I consider paperwork. There's just administrative stuff the designs to put together are very easy, and I just had too much other stuff to do. So I said, Pat, learn this, right? There's a huge market there. I think that you can speak more to it about what tour guide is, but I know that you guys, Pat, why don't you explain a little bit what tour guide is, because you guys are kind of branching into that market as well. So I kind of want to dig into that.
Now. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Any facility tour you go on, you don't really think about it when you go. You just go throw on the headset, take whatever they give you and you go. But they really have complex systems out there to where you can have two-way communication. You can have hundreds of units on one system.
So hold on, let's dumb it down just a little bit, right? So not everybody that's listening or watching, right, has been to one of these factory tours. Yeah. But one of our clients is Louisville Slugger Museum, right? It's one that I know well. I've been there, so lots of people go to that one. You can relate to it from a baseball perspective, right?
I didn't know I was going to be working for that company 10 years later, but
right.
Here we are.
So here you go. You go to that facility and you're touring their manufacturing plant, right? And how they make the bats and does all this stuff, but it's loud in there, right? So everybody puts on their own set of headphones, and then there's usually someone guiding the tour in the front. When I was just in Italy, we were waltzing around Rome and the Vatican and stuff, and we had a tour guide there who had a microphone, and we each had our earpieces on so that we could hear what was being said in a very large group of people and or on a machine floor with the heavy machinery going. And sometimes there's two-way communication and questioning back to the tour guide leader. And so that's what we're talking about when it comes to tour guide, right, Pat? I mean, is there anything else you want to, I mean, how else do you describe that?
No, that's pretty much it. It's just the communication method, between many people in a condensed setting where you possibly have audio challenges, frequency challenges. They've really come up with a lot of nice systems now that help combat that and make a really user-friendly experience for people that don't use them often.
So ironically, our company purchased the technology from Beyerdynamic. Beyerdynamic, in my history with Listen Technologies and Williams and things, great companies. And you think about, there's assisted listening, there's tour guide, there's language interpretation. There's so many things that these things are used for that they have to be equipped, right? So the product that Bayer had that we now own and are moving to our factories in Bulgaria and Belgium, it's something that now has same concept, but now to another level. So having all the capabilities that said, I want to be able to have one-way communication to wars like what you just described. I want two-way communication. You can do that. I would like to have built-in microphones. All right, you can. I want to hook up a lavalier or have a dedicated handheld. So it's really evolved. And this technology, I was really pleasantly surprised when I heard the news about Televic purchasing this, going, ooh, we now get to actually help in a niche that it's not just tours. It's because of our language roots. Remember, if we can do 40 to 60 languages at the UN and other institutions, we're very heavy into language institutions, right? But then you have, I want both. Well, this is like a Swiss Army knife product. And if you said, I don't want to talk on a headset or a lavalier, I just want to have this, speak, or multiple ones. And there's even an access point that I don't have that allows us to get in the game for a DECT technology microphone lavalier. So it's very flexible. So I think what's exciting is to kind of now go down the routes of, how this would apply, because I remember the requirements for those applications are very specific. We need to make sure it does this. How many groups? How do we lock into this?
Certain ranges.
And things like that.
How is the group leader set on this? Or how is that program when you come in? Or is it just all two-way communication throughout?
Oh, no, all signable. And, there's easy ways to say I want to flash it into what they call a pilot type of a thing. I can have it automated. I can have it on demand. I can change it on the unit.
Is that all through this device right here?
It can be this, or remember, charging cases of 28, 32, I think it is. I'm still learning all the accessories. But if I said, look, if you just put them in there, hit the button, and now they're locked, into this or whatever, there's a couple of different ways to
talk about the range too that you can get in between devices.
Honestly, I don't know the specifics. I know that it is the same as the industries, basically, from that point of view. So you have multiple groups in the certain areas? The answer is yes. And it uses DECT technology. So it's not RF, it's not IR type of a situation. And that's because of the worldwide acceptance of being able to say, I don't need a license to use this in multiple countries around the world. There's a lot of use cases in rental and other applications, but knowing the history of when Jeremy, you and I were working at your previous company that you're managing now, there's a lot of cool things in this technology that might apply.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and I like it's small, it's robust, like all these should be, right? Some of these belt packs you get are super heavy; they're a little bit bigger. I mean, this thing is no bigger than a deck of playing cards, right?
Smaller,
and
yeah.
Weighs about the same. So.
It couldn't be easier. You channel up, channel down, volume up, volume down, talk. It's it's simplified pretty well now for.
Oh, you know what? Also, too, having a USB on there too, is if you want to plug it in as a kind of a sound card concept, or plug it into another device and have another audio feed. There's so many things in this line that will be rolling out in 2024 here in the States. They've already rolled it out in Europe, so we're waiting on the rollout for our company here in the United States. So you probably see more about it in February.
Yeah, we have a complete, website dedicated to that was, just switched over from the previous company now to the Pearl website.
Oh, okay.
You come to our website and it's right there on pearltechnology.com.
Great.
Yeah, it was IAS Tour Guide was how we did it. Was Tour Guide. It's still, the website still works, tourguides.com. We finally just moved over the web hosting, right? It took 2 years to finally get that done.
It's done.
But we had to revamp the entire Pearl Technology website as it was too. So that was a challenge in its own right. So,
well, what's interesting is I think as we roll it out, the tour applications, assisted listening, language interpretation is kind of what we're talking about. And you can use this directly with this without an access point.
See,
So I could,
that's yeah.
you know, you guys can have those, and instead of me talking with one of those, I'm going to follow and just talk, and I can use a handheld. This is unique in this category.
Yeah, so I'm not as well versed in the tour guide stuff, but I don't think the other guys don't offer that solution,
No,
do they?
nobody
No,
has a
and this is this is big for, you know, questions too, and they want to have people ask questions throughout. If you don't have the two-way on, it makes it an easy thing to do.
For our conference customers, though, we've been really asked a number of times, because there's a lot of cities and, you know, different entities that buy our conference just as standalone plug and play systems. They go, do you have a handheld or a wireless lavalier microphone that we can add on? Well, actually, now we can take this and say, you know what, I'm going to add a microphone to this, and they have an access point, and literally put it in the room as part of our system. And again, I know there's a lot of choices out there for this type of a thing, but at the same time, you go, if you can get it all from Televic, you'll be able to do that.
Well, and then if you're, you know, bridging the systems together, that makes it easy, especially when you're in that DSP mode you guys talked about, right?
DSP mode is exciting. I have to say it's changed. In fact, it's changed our dialogue and the engineers that we're hiring. We're expanding in the U.S. We've grown 500% in 4.5 years, and our people, and we have a headquarters in Maryland. So what's cool is seeing that now we're getting engaged, honestly, Jeremy, at your level, and saying, you know what, we need people that can answer people's questions from Jeremy and make sure that we know what we're doing and say that we're taking this seriously. So I appreciate your feedback, you know, 3, 5, 10, 15 years ago, but
that's that means I don't get to call and bug you anymore whenever I have questions when I'm putting designs together.
Yeah, no, I can't help you anyway. You know that.
No, you do always put me in touch with the right people. You know, one of the biggest learning curves I found for the end user with any of these systems is etiquette change, right? So most people aren't used to the fact that you have to now push a button in some. Now you can set. I think yours can. You can set up for automated mic switching and things like that, right? Now you can.
Auto gain share, dynamic mix minus. But you're right. People don't want to push the button.
People don't like pushing the button. I love forcing that change, and I actually like talking people into that change because it does two things, right? And it forces me to lean forward to the microphone when I'm talking into it, which is really nice, right? Because then you get that nice, clear audio quality. You know, it's nice because you can, you know, mute it when you have to cough. You got the cough button, you got all that kind of stuff. But changing people's etiquette and how they conduct their meetings, if you will, right, is been the most challenging thing I have found with instituting these systems.
Well, that's ultimately why there was two things that I've always been asking Belgium for. The first one was, can you please make the LED green when it's on? Because Europe, it's the opposite. It's like broadcast. Red is hot on the air, right? It took a while, but they finally did it, right? The next one was, all right, we don't like to push the button over here. And they go, well, everybody pushes a button. I go, yeah, I know, over there. But over here, Americans, we like to yell. There's no, you know, we just get in the meeting and go.
The rules for meetings are out the window.
Out the window. No, there's no Robert's rule or anything. And you go, okay. So, and again, the pandemic is when basically right before the pandemic, they started working on it and they accelerated and they did it. In fact, today at 6 o'clock in the morning until 10, I was on a 4-hour meeting with Belgium. There was 20 people in a big room with our system in hands-free mode. All right. Now we have that in our system. It has nothing to do with DSP. Actually, our systems now can work in hands-free that says, no, you don't have to push the button. And it's so great because they are more interactive during their meetings. They as, you know, again, Europeans are used to pushing a button. Now they're going, hey, in fact, before the meeting starts, they go, now remember, the mics are always live.
Yeah, you have to remind people of that because you know, especially when you're going to, you know, maybe the button then becomes a hold to mute then or something like that, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, so that interactivity, that conversation that happens in meetings that we're used to and we like, you know, they're just diving into that. That's interesting. How many? I mean, does the LED logic follow the microphone then too?
It can. I think there's updates coming in various ways. So yes, and also remember our APIs are extensive. So if you said you want to control in different ways, there's ways to do it. But generally speaking, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because you know, you guys manufactured a product that has to meet all of these people's preferences. Now you're still locking it down in some regard, right? But for the most part, I can think of this drastically. The people we met with last week, they want to force their people to turn the microphone on when they're talking and turn the microphone off when they're done, right? The Peoria City Council, the mayor sits there, people presses, you know, one of the councilmen press a button, it shows up on the screen, the little light blinks, you acknowledge, then their mic turns.
Request to speak.
It's a request to speak, right? So There's that opposite end. Then we've got, I can think of a corporate boardroom where they force everybody to hold the microphone down, it's to hold the talk, right? There's all these different modes and settings. But the fact that you can accommodate all that and then still now do that conversational with the switching and everything, I'm interested to see how that works, because I want to know, because you got that local speaker for reinforcement too, right? So the logic has to change, the audio has to change on the speaker end, on the microphone end of that as well. So that's really interesting to hear that you guys have that now, and that's exciting.
Well, from a sales point of view, this is hilarious, because you go, well, you don't have to make a decision now. If you design a system from DSP, you're designing it for how it works. So being able to go into our interface and go, how do you want it to work today? And we literally had this about 4 or 5 years ago when we were going after cities. A city government made a decision. They said, we love this idea of request to speak. And it was a combo request, meaning we're going to have 2 open microphones, but when the third person wants to join in, theirs starts blinking a different color and they have to wait. And it was automated. Then when one turned us off, it turned on. So you don't have to have anybody. You can do all these things. And they were so excited they're going to do it. So they launched it. We went there in their first meeting with city council, and they told everybody what to do. And sure enough, they were having a debate. And then this council member just hit the button and he's not on. He goes, he flipped out. He was like, why is this not working? We just bought this. It doesn't work. And he came over and yelled at us. I go, guys, put it in direct speak. I go, sir, anytime you turn on your mic, it'll be live. I said, we bailed on request. And just to make sure we and the meeting. And the technician came over. He said, see that guy that yelled at you guys? Yeah. When he gets voted out, we're going to go try that mode again. and it was because they had a choice. They can go in the GUI and say, turn that back on. Let's try it this way. It's hard to do when you program it right from scratch and you go, no, this now with DSP mode gives Jeremy everything you want, but it gives the end user
the adaptability is key. Because you got to remember, a lot of these city council people and county boards and any kind of elected officials, and no matter what the hierarchy is, if it's city up to state up to national, these people are voted out at some point, right? Someone who's making these decisions.
Everybody gets 90-year careers in government.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There's a lot of people who do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So Pat, did you learn something today?
Absolutely. A lot of cool lights.
A lot of killing me, man.
No, this is great stuff all the way around.
Yeah. No, it's a pleasure. I enjoid meeting you and hearing about your history, and I've known you for many, many years. So
Too many years.
Always a pleasure. So.
We are good friends, and I will say I am guilty of calling all my friends first to come to be guests of the podcast. I know it'll be great.
Well, congrats.
You got some fun friends.
This is awesome.
This is good stuff.
We do have some interesting friends and some interesting industry people. So I appreciate you driving down. Driving down a couple hours for this today. We are going to start doing these things remote, but I want to start these things off with all in person. I think there's a better ambiance, if you will, between everybody.
It's easier to interact.
Yeah, much better interaction when you're not staring at a screen. So it's good.
Absolutely.
I'm revolting against what we had to go through in the pandemic and forcing everyone to come in person.
In person. That's it. Get back to the office, everyone.
Awesome. Peter, thank you again. Pat, you going to join us for dinner?
Got a kids event to see. Where's dinner, though? Where's dinner?
I don't know yet. Thinking about maybe Connected or hitting up somewhere in the Heights here.
Can't go wrong. Have you been to dinner here yet?
You know what? Once in the Heights, but never Connected. But there's a lot of nice places here. Yeah.
It's funny. We went to dinner.
Walmart parking lot, but
was it just
incredible.
Was it just you? It was my ex-wife and I and you? I don't think your wife was here at the time because I hadn't met your wife yet.
No.
And we went to, I think, the Bistro here in the Heights.
It's a great spot.
It was great. Yeah. But then I think fast forward like 6 months later, my ex-wife was going to visit her mom in Baltimore, and walking through O'Hare is Peter.
Yeah.
Stops, sees my ex-wife sitting at the bar, only having met her once, like 6 months prior, goes, "Are you married to Jeremy Caldera?" Right? Can you imagine sitting there at a bar and having some random guy come up to you that you met once 6 months ago and completely remember that?
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, how did you remember that?"
I was laughing about that. I had a major respect for your memory skills at that point because
they're all gone now. So
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in, everybody.
All right. See you.
Thanks, guys.